Back.
We're on the ground.
We're back.
We're on the ground.
We here.
Y'all asked, they
We
requested, community quarter. Yeah, we here. Like, yeah, we are.
here we
You
are.
asked for it. We back.
Yo, it is. Listen, it is such a pleasure. We closed out 2022 in December, and we sat down and rested a little. We wanted to look at the community, see what it would do, see how it would evolve. We 8 months in, and so it's time to be 8 and great. So, Community Corner, listen, we back. We're here. We ready to go for the rest of the year. We coming every month. Twan and Queen, you know how we do. We are in the space, we in the box, and we about to hit it. We are Black Box Radio. I am Queen of B. I am a host here. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. We expose Black genius. We platform Black people. But we also have these conversations about the Black experience from a lived perspective. It is so necessary. It is so poignant. It is what we do, is who we are. We're Black centered. We welcome everyone, but understand that we come from a Black space, from an African space, an African's perspective. So I got my brother here with me today. Community Corner would not be anything without him. Listen, I'm gonna take a minute, yo. Listen, let me just take a minute. Y'all gotta hear. Let me just take 1 minute. I gotta give my brother his flowers because this young man across from me he's been with me for 2.5 years. No, three, excuse me. Yeah, 2.5 years. I'm only 3 years old. So he's been with me almost the whole time that I've been in business. And first of all, and second of all, before we got together at Community Corner, he had been on twice. So we're gonna say he's been with me for 3 years. He from the beginning of this joint, he has been here with me. He has supported me. He's exposed me to so many things. Listen, you guys don't know. This is my brother. This is my friend. This is someone I have the utmost respect for. He has inspired me in so many ways with his life. I want him to tell you guys, let y'all get familiar again with his genius and how he's changed his life. But I have to say how he stood in for me. He stood in the gap for me. He's done so many things for Black Box Radio. I love him. I appreciate him. I am so glad. He called me. He said it's time for us to get back on. Because see, this is his corner. Y'all don't know I'm a guest. He brings all the guests. All the amazing guests that we've had, the politicians, the folk, it comes from this man right here. So I have to give him love. I have to give him respect. This is a Black man that I will get on my knees for. This is my brother right here. This is Antoine Qualls L. He is the CEO of Hope, helping oppressed people excel. My brother, peace to you.
Thank you, Queen.
To the people.
First of all, we still in August, which is Black August and celebration.
All day.
So, I first want to honor the commemoration of Marcus Garvey first.
Absolutely.
For his genius and economic stability in America. But then I want to give a big shout out to Angela Davis, because she always said, like, we need to educate around policy and community from high levels of education to ground levels to rise to meet silos. So big ups with the pump fists and afros, do y'all thing. You know what I'm saying? All queens. Queen, I would never want you to be on your knees, you know what I'm saying? To do anything.
When I say that in respect, my brother.
I know. I don't
we don't get on our knees often because they new knees. So we stay off there.
Sure. Antoine Qualls L, founder of Hope Baltimore, helping oppressed people excel, which is to support and advocate for those formerly impacted that return and will face the detriments of red line issues and barriers that may hinder them from moving forward or getting around the process to stable themselves. We just want them to have a safe transition and watch the explosive geniuses that they can bring to themselves in community instead of harming community.
Absolutely. And it's so integral. Can you tell the people a little bit of your story so they can know how you got here, how you got into advocacy, how all of this came to about? Tell us just a little, just because they need to get familiar with what's going down. So I need you to put that on the line a little bit. Tell them a little of your story, please.
I really think like it always been in me because like chasing, I think everything I went through was a gradual experience, and I come to like really understand that things happen to build us in later time for something that's bigger, and me like growing up in the city and roaming around and like trying to do things and looking to what to be into nothing was attractive. So a lot of times I was lonely and picking certain guys that I dealt with. And we followed things. And it was a long ride. And many who know me know like how the ride ended. It went up a ladder so fast and things and hit, you know, and time gaps, come back running again, hit. And I always think back, I remember someone said, like, fast as you run through a house out the back door, you land right back in the police car, you know? So, and I understood that, like, we was out there and everything I was doing, that was the consequence. But what I didn't know is, like, those effectively, like, that hustle with me that I know could have, like, done other things, and we all winded up in prison for decades, you know, and some of their families, and, you know, like, one of my friends, like, been passed for some years, but I still, like, see his mother, you know, and go see her and the grandmother and, like, things of that nature, so they can know inspirationally, like, if he would have been here, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but I know from what out of we had together as friends, and now this, you know. So the advocacy part, parole and something, first time I believed in it, got me out the game. Then ended it, and I was like, they always taking shit. They always taking things, you know. And I was like, one thing for certain, like, I'm not a bully and I don't enter bully, but, like, you not gonna take nothing from me that I'm trying to live and sustain myself with. So they said, we went down there to meet with Chris Shank, Secretary Moyer. They said they would do it themselves. I said, if y'all woulda, it'd already been happening. You know, it wouldn't be 3 or 4 times and then recognized as high-risk offenders, repeat offenders, and all this. So in the process, we started building an opportunity for ourselves to build a process that could help us excel. Building gap filling models, going around the resources, just building with the other networks that we already had in place, and just start gathering people that we knew from the ground. Somebody said to me, like, Twan, I really admire you because you don't go after those who are polished up and bulky and have their mind fixed. You go after those who are struggling in the fight and use determination week by week to pull them out of that mud. And I was like, damn, I ain't never think of that, but that's the process that really happened for me. You know, big up to my homies, Troy, you know, Tracy and them, you know what I mean? Because they stayed around me to cover me, you know what I'm saying? To make sure, you know what I'm saying? It's network partners, like, you know, Kern, Ray, Kate and them, all them played a visual part. And then it was homies in the hood that was like my ambition. They're like, bro, go, show them, like, really what you can really do. You know, if you did what you did in the streets and internalize it that way. And I tell us the people, like, whatever you done, I don't know what your greatness is, but you know what you done. You know what you're good at. If you flip that energy to be your why, you become the millionaire, because everything is about investing in you.
Wow. That's what it is.
And that's how you help oppressed people excel.
Absolutely. You got learn your why and go about making it happen, because greatness is in all of us. That's the thing about, we always look outside of us. We're looking at the TV, we're looking at what the next man is doing, but greatness is in you. Just pull that thing out, find out what you're good at, find out what you're passionate at, and go forward. And that's just where it's at. And I see people doing it every day, and then I see people just existing. So listen, dig into yourself. Dig in and bring it out, right?
Greatest ever thing said to me.
What's that?
Know thyself.
Whoa.
Right. And then it said, like, if you thinking every day and you in a state that use chemicals and all kinds of other things to feel a certain way, then what part of you is really thinking? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who's doing the thinking? Where's the thoughts coming from? So it says, if I can get you to think, you can save yourself. And
say how man thinketh, he doeth.
So is he.
So is he.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's so true. And you brought up something. We're gonna teach a little because we got to do that too. Black August. And I think a lot of people are not clear because there are no celebrations anymore. But Black August was a nationwide thing in the Black community where we commemorated our truth tellers, our freedom fighters, our activists, our jailed activists. So we still have those. So I say ashe to the folks who came before me, the folks who I stand on every day, the shoulders I am, the ancestors. This is the time in August where we actually, it's called Black August, and we commemorate that. And it's been forgotten because, we're so busy assimilating and we forgetting how we got here. And so we went, like you say, Marcus Garvey's birthday is this month, a true revolutionary. And Black August is something that we should have a celebration for Black August because it's very important in our community, because for a very long time our activists was everything to us. The folks who spoke truth to power was everything to us. Now we so free and so cute, we don't forgot about Black August, but we gotta think about that. So that I just want to teach a little. It's not to attack the people, but you know what they say, Google it. Because nobody reads anymore. Wikipedia, read about it, but also get a book, because real knowledge is in books. Understand that the computers someone has fed that knowledge into that, but get a book. You know what I'm talking? Go to the library, go to the damn library and get a book. And I tell you, some of the banned books are the best books in the world. The banned books are the real books. I promise you that. You know what I'm saying? On the black market book, that's the real book. The banned ones. Those are the ones you need to seek out. Real talk.
I always say some of the greatest treasures are always tossed away as someone else's trash.
You better know it.
People throw out boxes. I walk around the city and see boxes of books just sitting. And sometimes I may look and see what's in them, flip through them, and like, but like I always say, like, when I got incarcerated at a young age, I left school in the 9th grade. You know what I'm saying? So wow. And that's why I always say, like, what's going on now in education? That shit been going on, Queen. You know what I'm saying? It been going on.
Been going
on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're talking about North Avenue, but this been going down.
Been going on. This one, they was down on Liberty Street.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? When they was down on Liberty Street. You know what I'm saying? So, and people know, like, the education system been a wreck. It's just been Band-Aid, Band-Aid, Band-Aid. Now the pus and the infection them bust through it. Ooh. And you can't stop it.
Can't stop the drip.
You can't stop the drip. This is running. I'm out here. You know what they say? Don't let me get out.
Because I'm out.
I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So we saying from school to school to school to school to school. Yeah. And then we saying from private entity schools that's supposed to be in STEM schools, they being attacked and everything. And I'm like, whoa, it's hot, man. Yeah. But I've learned from some of my friends and homies that like really helped me to understand and concentrate. And one guy, like Huggy, he used to give me books and then a day later say, "Shorty, give me my book back." I was like, "Yo, you just gave it to me yesterday." He like, "Well, you need to write down whatever you need out the book and give me my book back." That's my book. I ain't finished with it. So and he gave me the lesson that when you write, you get a double hit because what you write, you comprehend and remember.
Yep.
So you get a double hit. So it was a time.
It's a form of recording. It's a form of recording. You're recording on paper and you're recording in your mind.
Absolutely. On a dial plate, which is the memory chip.
Absolutely. What's so amazing is you're sitting in front of books. We're talking about books and you're sitting in front of books. So
the library. I gotta stay on.
Yeah, books matter. I just want folks to know, like we're in a technological age. You can see all of the different ways to get information through the computer, but that is a contrived space. Go to a book.
Like when I think back about our culture, right?
Right.
Like Cordoba, Spain. First library was built for people to educationally study science. dealing with the Moors, you know what I'm saying, and Al Tariq, and then they built like certain things in Tripoli with mathematics. That was a city studying for mathematics. So when we look up and you hear about Ida B. Wells and all of them was in France and this and that, and Libya to go to college, I'm like, how did that stop? You know what I'm saying? Thurgood Marshall, right off of Division Street, went all the way to Libya and whatever.
Yeah.
And come back. And then from that, sit at the reign of Supreme Justice, but then the hood he come from, they have demolished their culture.
And that's something, but you know what I kind of think is we've been distracted. Like education for my parents was the way out. For my grandparents who I never met, education was the way into some type of liberation. Now the way out is technology, MBA, reality TV. You can strip now. The way out has changed, and it's distractions, and it's not building the community. It's actually keeping us stagnant. Yeah. And I think that's why you see that I'm not saying no one, but education is not in the forefront of how we move anymore. And it's unfortunate. We got to look at how to, and I'm not saying everybody should get a degree, because self-education does not come, usually knowing about thyself doesn't start in a college. No. It starts in a book, it starts at home, it starts in your community. So when I say education, I'm like, educate yourself, understand where you're from, understand who you are. Those type of educations we're not doing, because we're callously living our lives as if we're just here to have a good time. And that's just not what it is.
It's so crazy, right? Because like it used to be said, like, this thing is so simple, but people make it complex, right? And the who, what, why, when, and where all revolve around like how we're gonna build and conceptualize ourselves for other people to deal and react with us, And I remember like I was going through my process in recovery, right? In therapy, they used to say, Antoine, why you keep going through emotional crashes, which at the end result puts you in a place of desperation to do things because you're afraid to approach the real conflict that's making you feel that way, which is you. It ain't nobody. It start with you, it end with you, it begin with you. So, yeah, you may go outside and blame shift and this and that. Nah, turn it on you. Ain't nobody else. They just images. Like, what about it's a million you going and doing the same thing? And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's you.
Absolutely.
Yes. The self thing is the most important thing, because that's the unit that you start with. If you start outside of you, then how do you fix? Then what's going on here? You got to start in you. And it's hard to start in you, because then you got to look at your shit, you got to look at your stuff, you got to look at all of the stuff, because all of us, I think, in a gross, we're traumatized, and so we've packed so much trauma from our neighborhoods, from our families, generational trauma. Living in America is trauma for the African. I mean, so it's a continual trauma trance, as my brother Cleo put me down with. We are continuing to be in this trauma trance, and we continue to pack, but we got to still work. We still got to take care of our children, our families. So we tend to not look at ourselves. We look outside, but it's all in you. And so we got to look at that. We got to get to this trauma, and so we can live. What you smiling about over there, bro?
It's just so much of like that shit running like, and you're actually right, because the thing is, when we look at some families, don't even know the real history of their bloodline.
No.
The grandparents, so like the separation of connection in families, like some may be thin, but then they gain weight like, oh, this so beautiful. And the other family like, where they get all that from?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's because like people don't understand who's in the family and what comes out of it. You know, I was like, when we look in community, right? I remember like I met a lady that knew this lady that used to advocate in Toronto's for us, like, and her and my homeboy mother had got this park built when the house like
This is in Park Heights.
yeah,
Because people
right
don't
at the
know which
fire
one it
station.
is. Okay.
Yeah, at the fire station.
Okay.
You know, my man Marvin and Mario, rest his soul, like dead mother Miss Jax, Miss Carolyn, and the lady Miss Beverly, right? And the lady said to me, said, "Hey, Antoine, I was talking about you, somebody, and you know Beverly such and such." She said, you know, why pop threw some Pepsi on her white husky, and she couldn't get it out the fire, right? So I was like, yeah, I know her, and she was saying, kind of her what I was doing, you know, and she said, wow. She said, but you know what? He was always the one that would stand up, like right at the corner with his guys, you know. But then I'm like, my man Pat and them showed me like every fight has to be thought curriculumly, like, because sometimes, bro, though we may win, we may lose, you know. And now I'm looking at communities like where people own businesses and families own businesses, like it ain't nobody that's from that community that's owning anything.
It's sad. It is.
You know, and partnerships have come in, and the wild part is, right, that, and I'm talking with my network and my guy because we was doing some advocacy with around immigration and some laws, and then environmental injustice, and big ups out for justice because that was a great like informational training survey, things of that nation about environmental justice. But like people are coming in the city already in the detriment of brokenness, trying to survive, you know. And then you got other cultures coming in with their measure way of brokenness, and they adopting what they seen thinking work by their concept. I'm seeing like sheets with babies tied around the back, and I said, yo, are you serious? You know? And they got candy bars and dragon sodas and can't speak and got bulls on them saying, can you help my whole family? I'm like, oh shit, it's great to get hot.
Yeah.
Because people are already walking, sitting, sleeping with cups and signs.
Yeah.
But I always say, like, community people have done the best that they could in a measured way to help themselves. It's these entities that got it, saying they doing this, and they ain't nowhere to be found.
I mean, and I think Baltimore emulates so much of, you know, it's such a working class city. You know, it is a working class city that has a lot of corporate entities setting up around it. It has a port, a major port, that can bring goods out. So any port city can do very well, but it is adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean. That is a plus. It has a lot of things. The immigration is big here. They bring people in. Another thing is people who have issues in Maryland, they jump here also. They come out of jail, they come to Baltimore City. You come out of treatment, you come to Baltimore City. So we see in African American neighborhoods, because I just went down to East Harbor the other night. It is clean. There's not a junkie. Ain't nobody sleeping on the streets. It's like you go, it's a whole nother world, East Harbor. Then I come up here to Southwest Baltimore, and every 2 lights is addicts. And they're usually white. I'm not pointing fingers, but this is what I see. White addicts all over Black neighborhoods, wreaking havoc. I mean, around the studio, they wreak havoc. They use the bathroom on the studio. I mean, they sleep. It's unbelievable, and we are almost downtown.
And that's a Trump, but
But this is what's going on in the city, and then they say that we're talking only about crime, but no one's talking about this addiction issue we have, and these people who are hanging around who are not from Baltimore. They are not from Baltimore. They come up in these houses. They're burning down houses because when it gets cold, they start fires. And and this is where our taxpayers' dollars are going. And I'm not saying everything is bad in Baltimore, but we got to look at the whole totality. When the East Harbor is pristine, I'm there 1:00 in the morning, and you can hear a rat fart. It's just beautiful. They got security on the streets. They redid all of the streets. We cannot selectively put money in certain areas and don't believe that those folks ain't coming.
I'm gonna tell you.
And so they don't have a problem with these zombies walking in black neighborhoods.
I'm gonna tell you this,
right? Better. You see what I'm saying? I see it. It's so apparent.
Queen.
It makes no sense.
Like, listen, man. Like the Greeks and right there. You know that top temple? You know that's pure gold.
What top temple?
Right there in Canton. That's like that Greek Islamic building.
It's pure gold?
Pure gold on top. But guess what, though? Sandtown originally is a Moorish home community from the early 1900s. You know what I'm saying?
Listen to history here.
You know what I'm saying? The top of the hill in Walbrook Junction, where that park is at, to go down into like I forgot what it's called.
Lincoln Park, one of them parks.
Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
Right? That top hill. You know what I'm saying? That was a more study like area for park revenue, being outside. So like and these things, they have take the riches away. So like when you take the riches of people away,
the culture.
They don't have no value no more. They broke.
Exactly.
And we looking at a desperation state out of all the harm and self-infliction that been stored and told, like, hold it. You know what I'm saying? And it's been infectious. And at times it erupted in behaviors. And I think, like, titles and terms build identities that which create caste systems, and they have to have collateral to be the value so the wheel can turn. You know, and communities, housing, behaviors, ideas, how you talk, how you dress. And when I look around, I always say, like, what makes a person a successful business person? You know, or what makes a such and such CEO, or what makes a homeowner? You know what I'm saying? But then when you look at people to like identify like their principles and morals and about who they are, like it seems like everything's the same. No individuality to say who's what. So like I've been trying to like share minds to like, this is who I am. Stand solid. What you see is what you get. You know, somebody was like, "Which one?" You need to start using the title. I said the title don't mean nothing. Because the title don't mean nothing because I'm the one who helped the title exist. Without me, the title don't have no value to it.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I ain't caught up in no title. I'm caught up in the power like that's in me to help others empower themselves, to bring their best out. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, don't make me, people will say, boy, don't make me get my A game or bring my A1 on day one. I'm telling people, flip your game to like, whatever you do, bring your A game, play yourself. See, does yourself flush on you or can you flush on it? Because I said, like, and my daughter used to always say, she's like, Dad, you know, like, in order to get you, you gotta go through you. And you know, I think so many people and so many lives are it's cheerleaders for it to come back. The hustle, to get high, the this, the that, the this. She say, like, so you gotta find a way to get through that. And that's what I said. If I can get shorty, all the rest of them will clear out the way. So I said to myself, oh, you had my life. Ended up with bits. Got numbers on my record. That's gonna be with me forever. You know, like 20-year gap between me and my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Love of my life, my grandmother, like certain friends and things that got happening and evolved. So I said, guess what? Let me lead this one. You'll get your chance to come out. Because there is times I have to say, like, yo, handle this. You know, and he stepped out like, boy, like, really? This is really? You know what I mean? But then I had to always, like, know when not to go too far. Because I know easily he can run and be back inside an institution ASAP and be good. You know, and I don't ever want to transition backwards. I just always want to keep going forward because in this light is bright, but it's all kinds of treasures and gifts in his. I'm loving it. I mean, really.
That's
so
good. That's what's up. I mean, freedom is a beautiful thing, but a lot of us are free and we're not free.
Absolutely.
We're free and we're walking as if we're in chains, or our mind is not as in chains, or our hands are in chains, our eyes are in chains. So freedom is a beautiful thing, but are you really free? That's the question. So let's talk about Baltimore a little, because there's a lot going on. A lot going on. So I gotta I gotta make it hot a little. So I want to say shout out to the mayor. He about to be a daddy. So yeah, we got to say shout out to
congratulations on really, like, congratulations.
Our young mayor is about to be a father, and we're not laughing about that. That's a good thing. But that's happened. That's one thing that's happened in Baltimore City. Our young mayor is becoming a father.
I ain't gonna do
but
that.
The city per se, are we growing? That's the question. Is the city growing for the people, or is the city growing for corporate interests? Or is the city being handled as a reservoir for all of the blight in the world? We're getting the immigrants, the Ukrainians, we're getting the Spanish,
Congos,
the Latin, and I have no problem with immigration because this country is built on immigration.
That's a melting pot.
Yeah, we tend to want to act as if we all came from here. White folks, they own this spot. Listen, we all immigrated. So, but what I'm having a problem with is we're immigrating new in, and the old is rotting. And the folks who have been here are in a state of disrepair. And so, is Baltimore City moving to escalate the people, or is Baltimore City a corporate interest town? Or Baltimore City just a blue collar town that's just doing what it's doing, or the immigration? What is Baltimore? What's our identity in this joint? Talk to me. What you think? What's the identity of BMore? What is it?
It's gone.
So
Charm City.
It's no charm.
Charm City, like Charm City, city that reads. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
man. It has been a practical, right? Because this is what I say, right? And I'm gonna say this, and a lot of people who know they grade say, yo, you funny.
But talk about the people.
There was one time from like 96 to like 2001, this city had the title and was chanted by the city that bleeds. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when like people were going to other cities, and they was like, and with somebody, right? And they into like the music stuff, And they say, dude said Baltimore got the rawest talent here in the rap game right now. But nobody wants to sign nobody because if they sign them, they don't know whether today or tomorrow they're going to get hit. So that means they can never get the plate.
But what about the folks who ain't rapping?
But
what about the young people? Listen, you got youth works that's now they have 24 for every day now. It used to be just the summer. Now it's 365 days, in other words. So youth works is all year long. So the young people, we're trying to make a space for them to have employment. We got 18 to 25-year-olds that's teetering. They're on the corners because it's really, what are they going to do? They've been poorly educated by a system that's poorly educating our young people. We have 25 to maybe 35 that is just working to get along, because really, what are you making? You're not making enough money. It's no living wages in Baltimore. I mean, people are struggling, and I hear you say about the rappers, but that's a problem.
No, I'm not
an art. That is a problem. If you have an art,
like Queen, what I was saying, this is why some of them can't get in and out, because, and then even in like the advocacy space, when I'm like dealing with certain people out of town, they don't want to help because everybody here in silos, they say. You know what I'm saying? One backbite another in approval for certain things. You know what I'm saying? So people on the ground can't get help because they're saying they're going to do one thing, then somebody's backbiting them to do another thing. And then they making partnerships and all the money is staying within that rotation. It's never coming in. So it's a lot of great stuff on a ground level from small pieces that's working. I mean, literally, that's working. Pop Warner Leagues just had a big end of the season playoff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But what I want to ask about, and all of that's great, because when we talk about our growth, it's always in an entertaining fashion. It's always about sports. It's always about music. It's always about arts. But African people are intellect. We are scholars. We all of that.
Queen, you forget one thing. We ain't African people no more. Our minds are there. We are slaves. We are Negroes. We are Black. We're Ethiopian. We're returning citizens. We're ex-offenders. We're felons. We're collateral consequence. We're all these things to those people. We're not that. And the ones who have come to awareness of it is trying to fight it. And then they put in red lines, if you do this, we're going to escapade you all the way out. And they like, I can't lose my house. What about my daughter and child?
That's what I wanted to hear.
We got I'm telling people, I said to the student professor, that's my man, right? At Morgan. I said, bro, it is no way the man who started Morgan got arrested for educating outside. And then it's so many in urban communities that has a willpower and education to get in Morgan, and everybody from everywhere else gets the first shot. And I said, I don't know how the process works, but what I do know at the end game, they $200,000 in debt, can't work in the field that they went to school for, and then they have no issue to try to build a resource to make sure that they do. But then it's some they selected. Come on, we're gonna get you here. I can get you, John Hopkins. You can do this and socialism and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck? So this the game we playing?
I don't think it's a game. I think that the power structure or the folks who pull the strings, they understand that if one or two make it, we all fight to get where they are, and they make it think, and it makes you think that you can get there, but that we don't understand that they're selected and put there, or they've been helped there. So in all actuality, you continue to fight for spaces that's not really for you, or that
Don't
you really can't
exist.
get in. So that's what I wanted to hear what you had to say when you said we're slaves. You said we're slaves. You
What?
said we're you said we're
No, no, what?
Negroes. We're black.
17.
You
Listen,
said all of this. I
listen.
mean, listen. Wait a minute. I heard you say that, right? And you're for right. I wanted to hear that because me, I say we African. You said no, 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 no. We're not that no more. We're not that no more. And I can understand where you're coming from, but our issue is it's not. I think we blame ourselves, and I don't think that we're not great. I think that we've been held back in a lot of ways, and we in the process now of helping folks hold us back. So that's the sad thing. We have so much trauma that we're in the business of holding each other back. It's really awful.
I
But
think
that's
so
the sad
many. I think so many of us that are making decisions for what our outcome should look like are handicapped mentally and broken.
Ooh.
And not saying that like because I'm still in a coma state in certain levels.
We all working at that.
We all are, but I'm aware of it now. And I
Mhm.
understand how it kept me broken in certain levels. And there's so many webs and wheels, and like that's why they said it was a matrix. People looking at the movie, but they're not looking at the
story.
reality that the story is telling.
Yep.
It's telling you a story.
It is.
You know, we're looking at like crazy, right? Something that people drive 6-7 hours away to, right? If a fire happens in Walbrook and I'm at Penn North, I cannot smell it. It came from Canada. 5 hours away, 3 cities away.
And we can smell all the gas, all of
their fire. Smell all of it, right? So I'm like, I'm trying to tell you. And
tell me how that makes sense. You know what? You just said something. Like you can smell somebody fire in Canada, but you can't even smell them in Walbrook.
Listen, my homeboy great grandmother said that when COVID happened, she's seen all this before. She said, "This is what you do, boy." Ooh. She said, "You wear a cloth over you and such, and you keep it on. Anybody start coughing, they whatever, you get away from them." She said, "They poison us, and we inhaling this stuff, because they need to keep us broken down and have us medical reliable." And I start like thinking back on things. I ain't see like my grandmother don't like take no whole bunch of damn medication. My Aunt Daisy said she didn't start taking medication until they diagnosed her with her illness, right? And she said she trying to figure out where it came from because, like, she don't remember having it. But then when you look up nowadays, everybody got scoliosis bent over on walkers. I'm talking about 30, 40, 50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, everybody with diabetes, all connected families that lived around corner stores and been in and out of school to prison pipeline with the prison industrial complex. People are coming, getting released, coming home with health issues that diagnosis and DOC is not saying that they have. They dying and the family don't know why.
Stress, food, and environment.
That's why I say
absolute killer.
That's why I said DPCS is using food as a tool of violence.
What's DPCS? Talk to us. We all don't know that.
Department Public Safety Corrections.
Tell them, call them out. So, and not only that, because you remember that what you just said, DPCS, the school system. Look at the lunch that your child eats. Let's talk about it because we have to be careful when we see the behavior. We wonder why. Like, and I was looking, like they was talking about the young guy, the young people in the school where they had a shooting. The guy, got killed The little boy got killed. Then they had a shooting the next week. Somebody got shot at. I forgot the school in Baltimore. But I'm like, we're not talking about what they're eating. We're in school, what they're eating before school, sugar and trash, and the build up of these type of behaviors. You're not teaching them anything about themselves. School is not interesting, and you wonder why you see what's going on in community with young people. But then one of the biggest issues is food. So you said DCPS, what I can't get, DPCS, whatever, Department of
Public Safety Corrections.
Corrections.
Corrections. That's all you gotta say. Yeah. They know who they are. They know who they are.
Yeah, they know who I am. The food that they give the folks in prison is killing them. So imagine, have you ever seen the plate of food that you eat at school? It's trash.
Queen, listen to me, right?
It's trash.
We did a whole study on this, right?
Right.
You can feed a child, right, lunch, breakfast, for $2.20. The prison trays for 3 meals for that day, you know what I'm saying, comes to $2.50. The government's comes to $4. Yeah, right. And colleges and schools is all connected in the same thing.
They're all same food.
Yeah. So like
all same food.
I said, it's depression and all these things that get in is triggering these things inside because foreign things are in us. And like one thing's like after getting clean and then becoming a peer specialist and going back and being certified for it, what I started learning was certain chemicals that we was chasing at with the chemical already produces in us. But so many foreign things was given into us at a young age for sugars, candies. Here you go, eat this gumdrop. Here you go, eat this bag of worms. Oh, you want to go to the store? Get them orange soda. No, get grape, get this, get that. And all that started making me run. Gone. Slow down, boy. Look at that boy. He go. And the addiction level didn't stop until it wrecked my life.
That was the first addiction, was sugar. And
when I started getting into certain things and traveling back, I started learning that I'm a compulsive and obsessive in anything that I feel that stimulates me.
Got it.
So I watch like the work I do. Because I'll pull a whole lot of stuff together and I'll be like, whoa, I'm doing too much. And I have to recognize when I'm in a trigger mode because doing this work can and doing and watching and learning and looking at. And I'm telling like when people conceptualize coping methods based upon what they think is logical, but the concept is where's the reason coming in from that's making that seem logical. So the whole community's down, broken, can't get ahead. So guess what? Everybody like, I'm gonna be down, broken, can't get ahead. And me and my homie would ride around sometimes, different ones, and we'll watch dudes walking across bridges with chicks, right? And I'm gonna say like, bro, you remember when we was ripping and running? He like, sure, you think Shorty would have walked across that bridge with you? I said, sure they. But the concept is everybody's so into it. They're like, you going your way, but I'm going to make something happen too. You know? Yeah. And we gotta find a way to like, I mean, literally like on every level of obsession, they got us compulsively, subsequently like attracted to something to stimulate it medically, legally, partying, you know what I'm saying?
I
They
mean,
gonna
now we got weed.
they,
Weed
they
is
gonna
in the
get you,
play.
they gonna get some kind of way to
Yeah.
say, listen, medically, you gonna give us some bread. So they became the natural hustlers and drug dealers and plug to remove dudes into a deeper space to be rebroken again.
I mean, it's not only dudes; it's the whole community.
I mean, like, when I say dudes, I mean like this
Yeah, I
is
know what you mean. Yeah,
term.
but I get it. Everybody
You know
don't know
me.
what you're saying.
You
Everybody
know,
don't know your street
you
vernacular.
know me. Like,
So, bro, I got to break it down so the people can know, because everybody don't know. Everybody don't know the Park Heights hood talk.
Chick said, Chick
You know what I'm
said,
saying? Ching ching.
Chick said,
So,
Twan, when you say we rollies, what do you mean by that? I say, sure, you my rollie. Trust me. If I'm moving, we rolling. If you move, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. So, sometimes I got to break it down for the audience.
yeah.
So, but real talk, it's a lot in society. Baltimore is a great city. I I want to see more from it. I want to see us invest in schools. I want to see us invest in recreation. I want to see invest in the arts. If you give people access and you allow everyone a seat at the table, or at least thinking that they even have a chance to get to the table, then violence would tamper down. In a community that got a lot of cash, it's no violence. The violence comes outside. It's not happening inside because everybody's doing what they got to do. Not everybody have to have cash, but everybody needs to know that they can get a piece of the pie or they can go after the pie. And that's not what's going on in Baltimore. That's why we see so many people getting jacked, so many people getting killed, so many things, because young people are hopeless. Older people are hopeless. We got some issues in Baltimore City, but it's not just Baltimore. This is all over the country. I'm speaking in Baltimore because that's where I live, but I go to South Carolina. There is broken folk. I hit Atlanta. There's brokenness. I go up to Memphis. There's brokenness. I went to New York. It's everywhere, but it is intentional because you can't find one environment in this country where everyone is excelling. That's intentional. That's a problem. And we are the richest. You being the richest country in the world, everybody can excel. Something's wrong with that. Something is, and we're not looking at that. We want to blame ourselves. Oh, you got to work, you got to go after it. Something is intentionally happening to us.
I'm gonna say something,
not just black.
And I say this all the time, right? Like, we created oversight task force over reentry services. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of us that was doing work on the ground and that was connected, that was in different parts and could do different things and pull certain people together. So we created this whole Maryland Alliance thing in the whole state of Maryland. You know what I'm saying? And in certain levels and in certain spaces, it's formally impacted. You know what I'm saying? That's leading it. The ideas, the congestions, the work groups, the committee groups, you know what I'm saying? And this is how we started looking at how to build from the ground, right? So we started getting on the ground and saying barbershops, salons, boutiques, you know what I'm saying? Women doing all kinds. It was so many independent businesses, right? And I kept saying when I look around and look at the real leadership moving, it's some guys that's doing some things, right? But it's mostly the women. They pushing. And when we was talking about the Redeem Act and the Women's Pre-Release and all these other things and the consent decrees and looking at that, and we was pulling people, it was always women who showed up. It was listen, we need to da-da-da-da, and they kicked my door in. They're hold my son, and they stripped me, and you know what I'm saying? All these things, right? And I was oh. And I'm telling guys, bro, you got cuffed. You walked the long haul. They stopped you from existing in the world and then restarted you in another society where you had to figure it out. Now, we done seen the whole world stop again. And the adjustment in level to move forward, you know, like people caught up and they can't adjust.
Well, let me tell you something. If African Americans don't adjust to technology, we're gonna be left behind. Let me tell you something about
And they
AI.
know it. They listen.
AI is taking us out. It's going
Know
to
how
listen.
fast they listen, Queen. Know how fast they knowing it, because this was like some things like, and I'm getting hip to it. Right? You was telling me this a couple years ago. You was like, Twan, you need to start looking into equity and like how to do things that invest for later years, CDs and all that stuff, right? And I'm watching like how fluently online gift cards, transactions, and then Venmos, PayPal's, Apple Credit, Apple Cards.
We're going to a digital currency.
Right. So
we're on our way.
when guys like, yo, we went in the bank and we couldn't get no cash out. I said, bro, ain't gonna be no more cash, bro.
We're going to cashless.
We're going cashless.
Trust me, it's coming.
So,
and the process is people still want to put money under their under their bed, under their mattress. Listen, let me tell you something.
They're gonna get jacked.
You better get your wallet. You better get a
jacked.
That's right. You better get your digital wallet.
Listen,
because I promise you it won't work. We have to really, really concentrate on our thought process. And I said this somewhere, like we're still thinking traditional. We're still thinking about tradition. Everything's tradition. And tradition matters. It absolutely matters. It shapes you. But you got to look at reality and how culture is moving, how society is moving towards something else. And if you're not a part of it, it leaves you behind. And then you cannot access it because no one's going to come back and tell you because they're gone. So we're in this process now where we're still trying to figure out how to do things on a level that we learn. We want to teach our kids the same way that we learn, but this is a whole new ball game out here. And let me tell you something about this thing called AI. AI, and Queen told you guys on 8/23/23, listen, AI is going to take us out. If you don't get yourself together and understand artificial intelligence, I just read something. It said AI will, in the next 5 years, will take out about 300 million jobs. Y'all ready? Are you ready for that? What are you working a job that can be digitally removed? Look at it. You think I'm crazy now? But are you working a job that a bot can do? Because promise you, they're coming for you. You got to change your mindset. We got to look at this. So I'm saying this to you because I really want us to look at how we're thinking and understand that technology is something that removes a human. They built this. Understand that someone built this that's now going to be smarter than us.
One of the biggest things in addiction history in this city that people don't really discuss about. There's thousands of people who sell blood to Bayview and plasma centers, right? And I came across somebody and they was on their way. And I was like, nah, bro, don't do that shit. I'll give you what you need. And he was like, bro, they ready to give me like $200 for this shit. And I'm going to give them the 2 tubes. And I said, like, bro, I should do the same thing because I know the desperation measure that you at. I say, but later on in life, like what I have learned, my blood and DNA is being pushed somewhere in a study lab. And somewhere in Germany, Italy, Paris, wherever the hell at, they got a similarity piece of me because for years I stuck my arm out while I was used to get money. You know what I'm saying? And Queen, like AI and these artificial intelligence and these surveys, and people don't think like when Star Trek and they was telling you about the Avengers and all this stuff, it wasn't about the people. It was about the technical things that like they had, and looking at it as looking at the cosmic of the world, you know? So like we gotta look at these things have been, like I always tell people, like no one's really like telling them, like, because all they gotta do is run your phone. They'll know anything you doing. You, the 5 people that's around you, all y'all got phones, motherfuckers out like this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got you. It's one circuitry. It's one circuitry. And what we had to do is understand, like, how to build ourselves, build community, and then focus ourselves to move together to show, like, we have a dominant system that works for us. And this
we have to move together. We have to build community, but we have to build institutions. You cannot fight if you got to go to someone else's institution. And we continue to build other people's institutions. I look around the city, I see the young people, they Gucci, they Balenciaga, all of these names that has no interest in your community, has no interest in you.
Go get Cool Green. See my man. See Palm City. Get Cool Green. Like, these dudes on the ground that got stuff.
That's my man. Cool Green Clothing. AC Green. Check out AC.
Shorty doing his thing. Shorty,
That's
AC.
my brother right there. AC is a bad guy. He's doing, and he's hustling his way to he's genius with his hustle. But this is people that we need to have on our body. You know, we need to change the way that we think, and we need to put our money in spaces of people who are in our community, and we have to build institutions. And institutions is an institution in a community is a school. An institution in a community is a bank. These are the type of institutions that we got to look at. An institution and community that builds you to a point where you can have be self-sufficient. So we got to learn technology. We got to learn how to unify and build community, and also build institutions. Baltimore City is a great place, but there's a lot going on. So we just shout out the mayor for being a new father. But you know who I want to shout out next? I got to shout out Karen York. I got to shout out my sister. She's coming back to Baltimore.
We're gonna give some flowers out, Mama. Always. You know
we got to get that. Karen was on here, blew up Black Box Radio, just brilliant. Went to New York. She's a young CEO, but guess what? She's coming back to Baltimore. She's going to be the she's going to be the executive director, of Baltimore Core. Me and Twan have a love for Baltimore Core because we're both won the Elevation Award. We're elevators. And so Baltimore Core has seeded into our social entrepreneurship program. Mine is the Squeegee Project. And what's yours? What's the Baltimore Core seeded?
I mean, with Baltimore Core and the relationship, I'm part of Talent for Good. You know, working with.
What's the name of your program that they seeded into? Hope Baltimore. Hope.
Yeah. They gave me the Elevation Award to, like, they changed the game for me because they the ones who put me over. You know what I'm saying? They the ones who gave me the possibility for us to be able to last for a whole year and do what I needed to do. And by that, other people who were watching, because like people wanted to like get behind me to fund me, but they didn't know me for doing this. And that's what I was trying to tell people, like, it ain't the problem that like you doing the work. People don't know people. And it's about relationships and who you know. I'm trying to tell people, like,
absolutely,
when you doing the work, people got to have a relationship of what the work is about. Because that's how they balance each other. So some of them, and the work is really like the scale of justice. It can't be seen, it can only be heard. But you gotta make the vision of so many people moving in it that when the blanket come off the eyes, they be like, whoa, what that? What's that? What they doing? Who that? Why how do you get that? And that's what happened, you know? And like, I've been blessed to meet a lot of great people and have a network that, like, some things that I never dreamed of and thought about, like, places have adjourned to and levels. Because the one thing I was like, if anybody talking about returning citizens, I want to know what you're saying about how you working with us, because there's certain traumas and things that's stored in us from environment livings that certain people just ain't gonna open up to them about. and they could be re-triggering them. And do you know what to look for when it's happening? Because you could wind up starting a fire that can't be put out. And then all kinds of lights, ambulances, and that's what we're saying right now. I say you see more ambulance lights on the streets than you see the police department.
Yeah, it's a lot of sickness in the city. A lot of shots.
That's what needs to be talking about. The ambulance is on the streets more than the police.
Yeah, it's a lot of sickness in the city. It's a lot of shots in the city. But you know, you have to, particularly if you're doing something in your community, it's very important that you get yourself in a place where someone can see your work, because you can't continue to work out your pocket. At some point, you're gonna get tired, or your pocket gonna get tired. One of the two. So that's what we shout now. Karen York, Baltimore Core. They have definitely invested in our programs. Karen is an amazing person, so we got to shout her out. She's on her way back to Baltimore. She's gonna be here, changing people's lives in a nonprofit setting. This is the Seed of Nonprofit. So we just shouting out a few people in the city who is coming along, who's been on the box and who's great, and we want to give some love to. You know what I'm saying?
I'm really like trying, like, because this one, and I want to give her flowers, right? Like Tar Huffman, you know, like when the issue happened with organizations got hurt by physical harm, by physical sponsoring, she came back and networked with people to ask what would be needed. You know what I mean? What should like funders know?
You mean like the Strong City?
Yeah, like the Strong City Effect. The first one.
A lot of people don't know about that.
Not the second one. Not the second hit. Not the second boy. I'm talking about the first one.
So when Strong City, of course, Strong.
Yeah.
You guys know Strong City.
Affected, and 43 to like 60 organizations got affected by it. You know,
by
and
their fraudulent actions.
Yeah.
So we can't explain it. By their fraudulent actions, that these actual nonprofits who are working in the city have lost money and resources due to Strong City. Am I correct?
Due to Strong Cities making an investment on a building where they thought, like, I'm gonna tell it all, like they thought.
You better tell it.
Now, I'm gonna say it all. I ain't gonna tell it. I'm gonna say it, that they thought they could bring partners in and then rent to them by issuing relationships to being on that site, that they was planning that community would invest in them.
Okay.
So what happened?
Money for that, right?
Yeah. So what happened? They bid it on a building with somebody that had a general purpose of why they needed to be in the building. They was doing construction. They was doing plumbing. They was doing all these things. But then in the longevity, it didn't work out. And then it came in a bankruptcy because they was old. And then the city was involved for holding the building for so many years, letting money increase when the level was at one thing, but then the increasement level was at another. So they was bidding together. These monies went into that and broke them when the pandemic hit. And everybody that could get on computer started looking at the reports, started looking at their numbers. It didn't add up. They was being double charged for vehicles and like whole bunch, like it went down, right? But the concept is so many organizations got affected and had to either come together to stay active, you know what I'm saying? Or like they just had to sit still and just volunteer. So Tar came in and raised some money for it. You know what I'm saying? There's some other people that came in, made donations for payrolls and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always say like hundreds of millions of dollars came in here, man, and it didn't get to places. But Tar Huffman, Karen, Ray, Queen, you know, Will Freeman. It's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Davon Love. It's a lot of people that were like playing a part. Nika Namni, like especially Shorty. You know what I'm saying? She true blue soldier salute. Man, her come out the same site.
Absolutely. We got to shout out Nika Namdi.
You know what I'm saying? That's my own.
Real soldier.
Brittany,
yeah, real soldier.
Making a dirt bike part and things of that nature. You know, Troy Staten with the Barbershop Network. It just had the cookout up the park and invited the whole city. Just bring your tent and your chairs. You know what I'm saying? That's all he said.
I was there, bro. Yeah. So this is we're shouting out these nonprofits on the ground that's really doing work. So I mean, and you know, Twan, he always got to just say the name and keep it going. He you know how he is. So I love that about you. He just put it on the table. You got to figure it out.
They're on the ground. Just say like
people on the ground for sure. Yeah, they're on the ground. And they're doing a lot of good work in the city. So when I hear people say, "Oh, ain't nobody doing it," it's a lot of people doing anything. There's a lot not getting funded, you know. And we're gonna shout out Nika Namdi. She just got funded some more by ADT, which is a beautiful thing. They just dropped some stacks on her, some racks on her. So she got some racks dropped, and she's that hack hub she got over there and in Upton is a beautiful space. I was just there yesterday. So shout out to her and her work. And of course, Brittany from B360, shout out for your work, sis. All of these people. And I just don't want to name the big ones. I want to name all of them that's doing this work. LBS, gotta love Davon Love and Adam Jackson and Lawrence. I can't say his last name. Those guys, they're doing great work in the city. But they do work on a policy level because understand we need every layer. We need the policy layer too. We need advocacy because policy is our problem. The reason why a lot of people get caught up is policy. So we got to change some of these policies that them people put in place to keep us in the space. And we got some young warriors going after that. So y'all got to support that. You know, we got to support LBA, leaders of a beautiful struggle. They're beautiful young men. And they got some sisters with them too. So I don't just want to say the brothers. I
want to say this, right? It's a dude, Gordon Pack, right?
Who?
Named Gordon Pack that I got. That's with us. He also a part of PoPPiN, right? And he is the one who wrote the JRA case so he could get out. It was his case.
Make us understand what the JRA is.
The JRA, right, is a Justice Reinvestment Act. And basically anybody that was sentenced at a juvenile before the age of 18 to life sentences and spent over 20 years, like they are now able to put in appeals and reserve because it was a legal condition of sentencing. You know, based upon that, he showed in different levels where actually he was 16, so he wasn't maturely in what he was doing. Now, basically, like some things we know we had a certain age limit, but development, we still may be a mature.
The brain isn't developed.
We may be a child. You know, so like a lot of these things, and this is what why you hear now, the brain doesn't develop till the full age of 25. And Will Freeman brought that up about when we was in Annapolis, that he said when he got sentenced, you know, the reason was he wasn't fully developed as a grown man, but like you put him in a violent condition, which he grew to be violent. You know what I'm saying? Because he was still a child developing as a sponge. So we hear a lot of these things and we have to look at like, and now they're trying to say, oh, the JRA is going to be justice reinvestment. We're going to do it on the youth and da-da-da-da. And I keep saying, and I'm asking a question. At one point in time, when you was a juvenile and got arrested, as soon as you turned 18, your record was clear. But I said there has been times like I was charged as a juvenile, as an adult. You know, so basically because of that, you know what I mean? I never had a juvenile record to get clear. And I don't even know because when I was catching my juvenile charges doing training school, foster camp and all that, like I got hit and then got charged as an adult and got waived on. So guess what? I ain't never get a chance. So when it goes back, I don't even know if anything was cleared up.
Yeah, and you don't have if you charging all the young people as adults, then the juvenile record at 18 never gets expunged.
There ain't no such thing as a juvenile record no more.
And who is, and we see this all the time. I'll charge them as an adult because they know that if you do that, then by 18 you still got a record.
You
and
got them.
holds them.
That holds them.
So we gotta see these traps in the system. But not only the traps in the system, we gotta stop our young people from even getting there. So how do we even do that? That's the even harder part. That's an even bigger conversation. But once they are there, we got to change policy. So once they do get there, that they're not, because they have undeveloped brains, that they don't stay there forever. That we don't have old men in jail who were only children when they got in. And that's what we see now. We got older men coming out and they never ever experienced life. Never.
Oh, because you gotta like think like back. Like I always say this, right? There's certain dudes that got cases, and they was called capital cases because the attention span that they caught. You know what I'm saying? And we be around, some of them in the network, right? And we always talk about it, and I'm like, that was a way to expose them that if you ever try what he do, this what you gonna get.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends put him on a billboard. They put him on a billboard. Say, if you carry a gun like him, you will receive the same amount of time.
And wonder how can you put someone on a billboard and put something around his life? But that's how they don't care about you. So the thing about, and I hear people say all the time, oh, but then you shouldn't get in trouble. You should live a straightforward life. But let me tell you something. If these policies and rules were in play and they were affecting other communities, they would be abolished. There's no way, if these policies were affecting the white community or the Asian community, where they continue to allow young people to stay in the system from 16 to 50. That would not happen if it affected other communities. The reasoning why it can happen is because they can disenfranchise you from third grade and set you up to go into the system. And once you go into the system, you can't get out. Your neighborhood is a war zone. Your school system isn't teaching you. You're eating trash. You go to jail. And then you go in as a juvenile. They charge you as an adult. You never have a juvenile record, so you never get expunged. And they hold you there. And they make money off of you for 20 to 30 years. That is a problem. And you cannot blame that on the victim. You got to look at how this happens. It starts in third grade. They know who's going to jail. It's a problem. We got to change policy. We got to change the way we think, because if this was affecting the Asian community or the Russian community or the European community, these laws would not be in place, but it's affecting Africans, African Americans. So we got to think differently. It is not, our children should not go through this and come all their life and then come out as broken men. We got to do better. And broken women, because it's not just men, it's women too.
Hey, Queen,
it's happening all the way around.
I'm going to tell you this. Every child that's in the street right now, right, is a product example of the parent that was in the streets in the 90s. So when you go back from 1987 to 1995, they had over 400 murders every year. 93 ain't even been topped yet.
What's 93?
93 was 406.
Ow! That's terrible.
You know, that's why I always, remember I kept saying to you, like, they talking about from Freddie Gray to now, yo, this should go all the way back. That's why we had a saying, like our family used to say, make sure y'all come back to this house before I go to sleep. Because they knew, like, it was a thing in the streets at that time that you might not make it back home.
Awful.
You know what I'm saying? So, like literally, like, dudes, like, slap dudes' hands and they like, yo, I'm going around McDonald's, I'll be back. And that was the end of their life. You know what I'm saying? And like, I understand that there's some experiences that we get, that's leading us to where we got to be. Because, like, a friend of mine, very good dear friend of mine, just passed, and me and one of my friends, we went to see it. And I seen it, and I said, yo, she in a space, because she said, baby, I'm good. She said, baby, I seen you grow. I seen all Why, Pop, such everybody doing well. My kids doing well. My grandkids, they happy. She said, my life good. If I leave today, I'm good, sweetie. And that weekend, my homegirl called me like she passed, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. Because I really wanted to go back, but that's what I was afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, a certain family, I think, should have had that last moment with her. You know? But awesome thing. They let doves all for. Salute to her nieces and daughters. That shit was awesome, really. And I like said that a lot of times people do t-shirts and all that. That dove thing was so special because it flew right around the circle of where her casket was. That shit was beautiful, man. And that was like no enemy to life. It just carries on the next level wherever people got to like continue their journey to be one.
That's true.
We come from somewhere. We gather this flesh in this vehicle from dust and chemicals. Then shit leave. We go back wherever that was. I don't know where it was in thought, but whatever thoughts, energize it. And we're gonna see that community there. We're gonna see that community of love and energy. That's why we gotta like roll it out and return out, tell them people's return our loved ones to us and stop calling them returning citizens.
Well, the ancestors are present. You know, they move. People move on to the realm of ancestry, but they're still here to guide us. And we're an hour and 20 in. We started a little late, but I want you guys to know the corner's back. The corner, as Twan said, the corner's back. We just got on here tonight to kind of acclimate, say we're back. We're going to have a guest next month. We are going to have somebody from the community. This is a beautiful space because we're able to talk freely about our environment, our corners, where we live, our people. And we love Baltimore, but we want to see a better Baltimore in so many ways. So we were able to shout out a few people in community who are doing great things. We shout out our humble mayor. We definitely shout out some folks. We talked about the educational system. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the criminal justice system that is actually criminal. And next month, we're going to have somebody interesting. We're going to talk more about community. We're very much into reentry, the plight of ex-felons, formerly impacted, and the things that go on in their lifestyles. That's Twan's work. I think that's important. It needs to be a space.
I love it.
Because he loves it. And one thing too is we always put people away, and no one deserves to be put away. We got to stop putting people away. We got to repair what's broken. And he's in the work of repairing the broken, and that's a beautiful thing. And I support that.
Absolutely.
I absolutely support that. And that's what the community corner is. We are a community. We are we're talking about things that folks are not talking about. Next year, when it gets warm again, because we're about to go into a cold season, we're going to be on the corner, the actual corner. We're going to do some live shows. So we're going to ask.
Coming, y'all. Well, we coming to the hood.
We coming to the hood, and we want you folks to, email me at blackboxradio@gmail.com because we want to tell us where you want us to come. Also, listen, I want you to like, share, subscribe to blackboxradio.com, to all of our social media. Keep this going. Help us build this where we're a space where we have authentic conversations about Black-centered topics. I mean, we need to stay out here. The community corner is an institution right now. Twan said they called him to come back, so he called me, and I'm so glad he did because I always love to be in space with you, brother.
I love being in space with you too, Queen. You already know.
This has been very refreshing. I always love what you bring to the table. We need that street. I love what your language. I love your richness, and so we need that. I mean,
culture, mama. It's culture.
Yeah, culture. Black people ain't a monolith.
I got a dress code. I got a lingo.
Absolutely.
I got certain morals. There are principles and rules around us.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And the wolf under the moon is the flag. I'm trying to tell you, that is the flag. When you
This
see
right
that,
here.
no helping oppressed people and sellers around. You know?
It's around. It's around. And listen, he has a for people who want to volunteer, people who want to come see what he's doing. He does it every Tuesday at a man. Well, you tell them where are you at on
Yeah, we
Tuesday.
meet every Tuesday, 811 Cathedral Street at Emmanuel Episcopal Church from 6:45 to 7:45, right? But sometimes, depending on what the conversation and what come out and carries on, like you never know. It might go. I done seen it go to 8 or 9:30, you know. And also, like, we got a newsletter that we just put out every once a month. We are doing stories and promotions around resources, stories of people that's in communities coming home, network partners, things, people connected off the ground. You know, if you want your name promoted and pushed, we will. If you don't, we'll just put the story. You know what I'm saying? I just want everybody to be comfortable and know that there is hope in the community. We just got to get the voices of the ones so they can tell their own experience of what their expertise in. They the expert at. Because what I believe is that no one can tell you how to be the expert of you because they haven't been with you.
Absolutely. That right there is true talk.
Not like can't nobody tell me like who the expert of me because like what I went through, I understand literally how I got through it, so I can tell someone, yo, this what you won't go. And I tell people all the time, if chasing, using, funning, partying is your thing, and it's in an illegal realm, there are only two places that you end up doing the same thing: in prison on the floor ill, or in recovery on the floor ill.
Wow. That's it. That's real talk right there.
Both state-run facilities.
Yeah, that's both of those are facilities. You pick one. So that's real talk right there, and that's what we do at the community corner.
My experience, I know, but if you do what's right, I'm trying to tell y'all know, bro. Some of y'all know I was in the car, man. I couldn't get off Ridgewood and Bowman and Monument and Luzerne, Borden, Pulaski, and these other things. But guess what? The day I done been able to like see the Bermuda, San Antonio, Laredo, you know what I'm saying? Like Atlanta, you know, teaching people, and never thought that I would like really be teaching how to work with returning citizens to understand their leadership in community.
That's what work does.
Antoine Consultants, bro. Antoine Bakari Consultants, bro.
He's so animated. I love it. But yeah, so he's out in community. He's teaching people. He's traveling. He's doing things in his life that he never thought he would do. But it comes from when you pour into others and you give grace for other people's in their lives. This is what happens. It's a growth thing. So we all got to do that. I want to say as we close, everybody has to do one thing in their own community. I don't care if it's on your own street. If everybody takes some time and helps somebody else, or set up something for the children in the neighborhood, or for the elders in the neighborhood, or for the ex-felons in the neighborhood, whatever, if we all set up a space for someone else and start trying to solve some of the issues that are in community would change. But we cannot wait for someone to save us. We got to save ourselves. And everybody, look into yourself and see what you can create that can help someone else. I promise you it'll help you more. The more you pour into somebody's cup, the fuller your cup gets. And so no man is an island. Give and you will get. I promise you that. So that's what we are. Community Corner is a service institution. We service the community. We talk about community things. If you would like to sit with us, please email us at blackboxradio@gmail.com. And remember, Twan has this weekly meeting on Tuesdays at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, 6:45. You said to 7:45. Check these ex-felons who formerly impacted citizens are there. They need anything that you can give them when it comes to pour into them. They're trying to acclimate to society. Please come out, help a brother, help a sister. That's what we got to do. When somebody falls down in our community, we got to be there to pick them up. Yeah, so I want to say to the community, Ashe. Go ahead, Twan. Close us out.
I want to say, like, I am like accepting women to come in now, and like, there's been good conversations. So like, it's really around building community, because once a stabilized men to be able to think for themselves and build equity and invest in themselves, then it's like getting the sister to understand, like, because they know how to build homes, they know how to build community, they know how to structuralize. Women bonds are more stronger than, that's the greatest force that you can ever have. That's an example of like true love and unity together. You'll see move out step by step. So but yeah, Baltimore, like, do y'all thing. You know what I'm saying? We're a great city. We're real talented. We just got to improve and show what our talents are, because like some people don't want the virtue of us to be the painters to make the Picasso, you know, because wherever you see like paintings and visions of people around us in community, it's always aspirations of greatness in the picture. So I told somebody, like, there need to be a new like portrait done for community with modern day people from like been in these areas and elders all the way now to what's going on now, you know. And then young is going to be able to technologize and put it there and continue, but we got to build these things so we can empower people, we can motivate change, and always be able to help oppressed people excel. With that, community corner, salute.
Salute. We listen, guys, we are boxed up and out. We appreciate you tonight, Black Boxers. We appreciate everyone who came on tonight. Please, we're coming through next month. We have a great guest, and we got more to talk about. Baltimore, be great. Deuces. Let's get some deuces, Twan. We out. Peace, everyone. Good night. We're back.
Told you, short.